What's going on, my fellow Earthlings? Welcome to the very first episode of Products for the Planet, the brand new show where we talk about eco-friendly products and determine, are they truly green or are they full of more crap than a cattle ranch? And today, my friends, we take a look at this.
Oh, the toothbrush. How could we ever forget that fuzzy brush we scrape against our yaps every day to keep our smiles from looking like Blackbeard himself taught us dental hygiene? Originally crafted from bone, with bristles fashioned from the hairs of wild hogs, 1,500 years ago, our ancestors used to rub their gums with fresh pig hairs every night and then pray to their gods, begging to not catch a disease that was worse than whatever they had before they decided to brush. Nowadays though, the horrors of dental hygiene's evolution are hardly heard of. Most of us probably have a toothbrush at home with our favorite brand of toothpaste, or cheapest brand, but no judgment here, folks. And these products have largely looked the same for decades. Some of us care so much about how effectively we brush that we invest in electronic motorized toothbrushes designed to brush so much shit off your pearly whites that you end up with a fresh set of baby teeth after each session. But what happens when your loyal brush companion starts to develop human emotions and says, "I feel completely used by you. You pick me up only when you want me, and as soon as you're done, you don't even talk to me like all day." Then, before you know it, your brush lets itself go, and suddenly, things just don't feel the same anymore. Well, like everything else we lose feelings for, we hold on to it for a little bit longer to see if we can make it work, but inevitably, throw it away and replace it with a new one. But wait. Wasn't that nagging old brush you just junked like last week's leftovers made of plastic? That can't be good for the environment. Wait, isn't your new brush made of plastic too? What happens when that one gains emotions? Won't you just end up throwing that away as well? Oh God, what should we do?
This is the Humble Brush, and it's made entirely out of bamboo, one of nature's strongest naturally occurring materials. And it's also 100% compostable, or so they say.
Humble Brush is a product of the Humble Company, producer of a number of hygienic products, all of which are advertised to be vegan, earth-friendly, or both. I picked up this single brush at Target for around $5, which I kinda regret after later finding a pack of 5 at TJ Maxx for about the same price, and I immediately knew I wanted to buy more. However, I found other bamboo toothbrushes that were not made by the Humble Company. So, I decided, instead of buying the same brush I already had experience with again, I would invest in a different brand, which, by the way, there are plenty of, and compare them. Ultimately, I settled for a company by the name of Grin. I chose Grin because I found other types of brushes by this manufacturer, and they're made of cornstarch. This further fueled my curiosity, so I bought them both. At first glance, it's already plainly obvious that these brushes are far more natural than their plastic counterparts. With a beautiful texture throughout the body, the 100% bamboo handle is lightweight and soft on the hands, but with a firm structure, so you're not at risk of snapping it in half if you're a heavy-handed brusher like me. And the same goes for the cornstarch brushes, except they're a bit smoother in the hand. The nylon bristles on each of these brushes are also nice and soft, so you're not scratching the life out of your teeth as much as you're cleaning them. Each of these companies claim that softer bristles are recommended by dentists, but that's just about what every toothbrush manufacturer would say about their product, isn't it? I've been using the Humble Brush for about 3 weeks, and all in all I have to say is it's worked wonders. It's a bit embarrassing to say, but I sometimes suffer from a bit of gum bleeding when I brush. Like, a lot. So pretty much all of my old brushes used to make my bathroom sink look more like a murder scene than a place of hygiene. Maybe I was brushing too hard? I don't know. But with the Humble Brush, I am less sore after each session. My mouth and teeth feel great, and dare I say, my smile has never felt better. Notice I said felt better, not looked better. It's not all about appearances, guys. Oh God, I'm starting to sound like my ex-toothbrush. I haven't gotten the chance to actually use either of the Grin brushes as of yet, and I probably won't until the Humble Brush wears out, for the sake of hygiene. But just getting my hands on them, I could already tell they're made of a similar quality. The bamboo handle is thinner and wider on the grip, and the cornstarch brushes have this excellent curve that just makes them feel so sensual. Now, if you're an electric toothbrush user, I don't really have much for you, but maybe you could just shake your hands really fast? I don't know.
But is this product actually green? Is buying this toothbrush actually good for the earth? Or is the humble company more like the big fat lying company that just wants into our earth-loving wallets because they know us tree huggers love a good environmentally friendly solution?
It's usually my preference to evaluate products on a manufacturer-by-manufacturer basis, doing research on each product and their producer before I buy or recommend them. Bamboo, though, uniformly, is one of the easiest plants to farm. It takes little more than fresh water to flourish. You don't need to use pesticides of any kind to grow a healthy supply. And it grows fast. So fast that during the few months that you'd be using your eco-brush, enough bamboo could be grown to produce dozens more. Now that is sustainable. The bristles, though, are a different story. Nylon, the material used to make the bristles on most toothbrushes, is historically synthesized from plastic. And plastic, as you know, is a naughty material to use when it comes to protecting the environment. I did find, however, that the humble company sources their nylon from a producer by the name of DuPont, interesting name, who are said to develop their nylon from castor oil. Castor oil, if you didn't know, is made from castor beans, a whole lot more natural than crude oil, which is made of corpses, literally. A highly refined corpse that has been in the ground for thousands upon thousands of years is being put in your mouth every time you brush your teeth with a plastic toothbrush. Think about that for a moment. However, for full transparency, I will admit that there is a lot of debate between scientists on whether or not plant-based plastics are actually as degradable as those who market them want us to believe. But I'll leave that topic for another day. Grin doesn't seem to have published any information on who develops their bristles, but according to their website, Grin brushes are charcoal infused, which is supposed to give the brush an antibacterial and detoxifying property. It's also supposed to naturally whiten your teeth, but how effectively it does that probably varies greatly from person to person. And honestly, even if these brushes did come with traditional plastic nylon bristles, I'd still think they were better. Removing 98% of the plastic from any product, sourcing resources from nature, and having it work virtually the same is a step up for me on every level. But some people may ask, but what if greedy companies produce them haphazardly and their quality is tarnished because of profit-driven manufacturing strategies? And I hear that. And though it's a tough call, even then I'd still say we'd probably be fine. Think about it. If we can support products like this and get manufacturers to flood the market with these sustainable products instead of plastic ones currently being produced, well, I could only see good things coming from that. Also, looking at this from a manufacturing standpoint, any smart business would grow their own bamboo or find a producer, considering how cheap it is to grow. Going out into the wild for naturally occurring bamboo would be a huge waste of time, manpower, and most of all, money. The next question could be, then what about the land these companies would need to clear to cultivate more as demand increases? And even there, I think these brushes are better. Bamboo grows in very tight batches, and you don't need much space to grow a crap ton. Also, bamboo isn't harmed by insects or pests, so you don't need pesticides or things like that to grow healthy crops. And that is a huge win for the environment, especially the bees. We all love the bees. The last thing I could imagine someone questioning is, what about the manufacturing process? What happens when the bamboo gets turned into the toothbrush? Doesn't that cost more resources, more power? And the answer to your question, yes, but so does mass producing pretty much any product on the entire face of the earth. Everything you see in your house right now is probably mass produced, but a little secret about mass production is people design machines to produce these products as quickly and efficiently as possible. Otherwise, these companies would just be bleeding money. So I trust that as these products gain demand and as these manufacturers produce them more and more, the manufacturing process itself will become better and better. Here is where I would take precaution, however. And this rule should really apply to anything you buy. But pay attention to the packaging your brush comes in. The Humble Brush as well as Grin come in recycled, recyclable, and compostable packaging. The plastic on the Grin packages are labeled to be made of plant-based plastic, and again, how meaningful that is really up in the air. But what I want you guys to do is to keep an eye out for those manufacturers that totally miss the point of an environmentally friendly toothbrush and end up selling it in a non-recyclable package of some sort. Even worse if they sell them individually like that. While you're at it, make sure yours doesn't come with any kind of glossy coating or transparent material on the brush handle. These coatings are often made of some sort of plastic too and will soil the good intention of a bamboo toothbrush. The cornstarch brushes I have do present some sort of gloss, but on close examination, it looks like this gloss is a result of the manufacturing process more than an additive after the fact. And according to Grin's website, these brushes revert to their powdered form within 90 days of commercial compost and about 1 year if you compost at home. That's tons better than the hundreds, if not thousands of years traditional brushes will spend waiting for nature to decompose them in landfills.
So what's the verdict? Is this thing a planet-pleasing product? Most definitely.
The Humble Brush and bamboo toothbrushes as a whole are an amazing display of modern technology. The handles are strong enough to handle a good brush, but the bristles are soft enough to keep your gums from feeling like they just got ran through by a street sweep. These brushes get the Conservationist stamp of approval and can now and forever be known as products for the planet.
What do you think about these new bamboo toothbrushes? And do plastic toothbrushes have a benefit that makes them worth keeping around? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next week on Earth for the Win, but until then, I pray you are spared from the sun's mighty fury, and stay safe, my friends.